It's party time!
Viva Pinata, filled with fun.
Filled with fun!
Don't enjoy them all. Viva Pinata, filled with fun.
Filled with fun!
Viva Pinata, don't be enjoyed.
Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's they made what into a TV series. And guess what we needed? We needed a replacement for Donkey Kong Country, the TV show. It's finished. Hopefully you've seen the last episodes. Hopefully you've watched some of them, talking about the show, the episode bit by bit. And we're going to be doing exactly the same now for another series. Short series as well. One with 52 episodes overall, so we might be here for a while. It is, of course, Viva Pinata. Yes, there is a Viva Pinata TV series, computer animated TV series, produced by 4Kids Productions and Bardell Entertainment in collaboration with Microsoft. And of course, is based on the Xbox 360 video game of the same name by Xbox Game Studios and Rare, which was released alongside the TV series. This show actually came out alongside it.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know. Didn't have a clue. It premiered in August 26, 2006 as part of the 4Kids TV programming block. Later moving to the CW 4Kids before being removed from the schedule in 2008. Basically, this predominantly aired in Canada, as a lot of them seem to. The series aired on YTV, continuing to get reruns as well. It did air on Nicktoons Network and CITV in the UK, and on Nickelodeon and ABC Television in Australia. Never saw it.
No,
But then, be honest, I wouldn't have. Think about those channels. I wasn't watching those in 2006.
No,
Do you know what I mean? I was like in my 20s then.
Yeah.
So I wasn't exactly tuning into CITV.
No.
You know what I mean? Or Nicktoons. So I'm not surprised I didn't come across it. Because it is a children's show. It is aimed at a younger audience. It's exactly like Donkey Kong Country. It's why we're doing it. It's the perfect replacement for it.
Exactly.
But I guess we'll mention it now. I like the game. I love the game, actually.
Yeah.
I love the games.
Yeah, I love the game too.
Yeah, I do love the games, except Party Animals, because that's not a proper Viva Pinata game. But I love Viva Pinata. I love Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise. I dream of the day when someone goes, hey, we should make a new one of them, but using the technology we have now, of the systems we have now, to make bigger, better, bolder.
To make a proper, massive, big game. I would love
Yep,
it, man.
whole world instead of just a
Yeah,
small
I know.
garden. Or if you want to limit it to that, because of obviously like the sort of setup of Viva Pinata might require that regardless, still make it bigger, still be grander in your thinking.
Just give me a big I just want a massive garden.
Yep, garden sim.
With nobody, you can only lay 20 of these. So I just let me do whatever I want. That's all I want.
Yep.
You know, half a spoon style, but bigger.
I'd even settle just for the sake. I'd even settle for a remake. Let's just do something with that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's 2023 at the time of recording, and I don't think we're getting it. I really, really don't. So we've got the show to enjoy. It is going to be one of these people. It's going to be short episodes where there's not a lot going on. So people, we should say, Lloyd Goldfine and Paul Griffin served as the executive producers, with Mike DeSevi acting as a story editor, and Anne Bernstein and David Stephen Cohen among the series writers. Unlike Donkey Kong Country, the actual writing credits here are seemingly less important. In fact, they don't even come up in the introduction. So I don't think, whereas we're constantly like, oh, it's Erica Strobel from Donkey Kong Country. We'll be doing much of that here. And there are a couple of irritations I will note for this show, and that is the characters themselves. These names of these characters are infuriating. I'm going to try and find many ways to get around having to say the four things, probably just going with their first names, but I will run them down to begin with this opening video for the first episode. Overall, though, basically, the overarching story is Pinata Island. Pinatas are various species. They roam gardens freely, eating candy, and just chilling out, hanging out together, having little stories together. The sort of tying it to the game thing is this idea that the Pinata's candy reaches a high enough level, they then set to a party via the Pinata Central computer, where they go to that party and are then broken open by party goers. Now you might be like, the fuck, that's sick, innit?
They're murdered, yeah.
Yeah, they're murdered, right? But apparently they're then repaired and just brought back to the island perfectly fine. And I was like, yeah, that's a nice get out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus. And the series basically follows a group of particular pinatas in their day-to-day lives in the islands, bringing in extra characters here and there. But it's around about maybe 5, 6, 7 or 8 of them, predominantly, that are the leads, as it were. And I'm going to go through the main list. Hudson Horastachio, voiced by Dan Green. Paulie Prestale, voiced by Brian Millard. Fergie Fudgehog, voiced by David Willis. Franklin Fizzly Bear, voiced by Mark Thompson. Tina and Teddington Twinger Snap, fucking Viva Pinata's animals' names, voiced by Catherine Delaney and Jamie McGonigal. Ella Elefanalia, voiced by Rebecca Solar. Les Galagugu, voiced by Eric Stewart. Langston Lickertoad, voiced by Mike Pollock. And Professor Pester, voiced by David Brimmer. That is the main cast. I'm probably going to be first naming them all the way throughout more than anything else, and hope you can keep up with that. So, each episode is around 20 minutes long, but each episode features 2 segments. So effectively, it's a 10-minute episode per one.
Yeah.
Now, for this recap, we're going to do both segments of one episode. So episode 1 is Cocoadile Tears and Candiosity. And that's what we'll be doing in this one.
It was episode 0, wasn't it? 0 and then 1 and 2. It was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it?
Oh, I just saw it as episode 1 with both segments put together. Where are you watching it?
I watched it on YouTube.
YouTube, same.
Yeah, because on YouTube, for me, it was 0, then episode 1, 2, and it just went through.
Okay, all right, maybe a different playlist then we're looking at here. But your mine was just episode 1 with both segments in it, and it just flowed and so on. This originally aired on August 26, 2006, and we begin with segment 1, Cocoadile Tears. Okay, should we say it here? Intro song. It's going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
And part of it is because it's not as catchy as Donkey Kong.
No.
Hey, yo, look at down below. This one is long. In fact, it's about a minute long.
Yeah. I mean,
And if you played Party Animals, you know this song.
Yeah.
It's been used in the games. Yeah. It's long. Yeah, I don't really care for it.
Nope.
Put it this way, I'm going to be skipping it a lot.
Yeah, it's like a minute and 30, a minute and 20 long. It's like the episode only under like 11 minutes long or something.
Yeah. But when you take out like this segment phase and all that, probably about 9 minutes.
Yeah, and then I noticed. I don't know to me, but like, at some point it's like sort of like I had a break.
Oh, like an ad break. Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's like 5 minutes, and then
it fade to black.
Yeah.
That's what you would be like as a TV show, that kind of thing. So we got a group of pinatas. They're checking out a dead garden. We have Fergie, Tina and Teddington, Paulie and Franklin. And Franklin, the bear, eats some fruit of a dead plant and keels over sick. Tina and Teddington argue about if the garden is salvageable, but it looks like it's done. Yeah, we're not getting deep and meaningful stories here.
Nope.
To be fair, though, I will say, kind of like this episode.
I
do.
Yeah.
Fergie has had enough and is leaving, but looks over a fence to see Chortle's Chippopotamus, voiced by Sean Schemmel, and he's got a really beautiful garden.
Yep.
He's kind of jealous about it. Before he can ask about it, though, he's pulled back and told to stay away, as Chortles is a terrible comedian, and they don't want to hear his jokes. Parley argues that we should ask him about his gardening anyway. Sometime later, the pinatas have decided to ring Chortle's doorbell and get pranked. He answers the door. He's very animated and invites them in while making terrible jokes. They are really bad puns, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Inside, they ask about his garden, but he starts a comedy routine that, again, is pretty terrible. There's a lot of slapstick in this, he's on stage and elements like that. It's just funny seeing this in relation to the last episode of Donkey Kong Country we did, which had stage stuff as well.
Yeah.
Sometime later, the pinatas are bored senseless by his routine. Paulie eventually manages to ask him about his garden, and he reveals that it's the Cocoadile. No, it's Cocoadile. Cocoadile Tears that help us flowers and plants grow. And hearing this, the pinatas making a hasty escape. That's the funny stuff.
Yeah.
Is immediately just like, boom, and they're gone. Afterwards, the group set out to try and find himself a Cocoadile and set up posters and signs all over the land. After, tired from the work, they head back to the garden but find no Cocoadiles have come to what they've been offering. But they then see Cecil Cocoadile leaving Chortles and think they can get in on that action. Yeah, let's get in on that action. They go and visit Cecil and attempt to talk to him and get his tears. But he just says he is fine and wants the free candy they offered with. He's basically unemotional completely. It turns out that he's too optimistic even though they try to make him sad. They try watching a sad movie, playing a sad violin melody, cutting up onions, and even hurting him. It's like, that's a weird thing to me.
Proper beating him,
Yeah, that's a weird thing for kids to see. Nothing works. A phone call from Ella Elefanalia says Teddington pretend his friend is leaving forever, but again, nothing happens with Cecil, who simply just wants his candy. He's not interested. The pinatas, having had enough, attack Cecil. Yeah, they attack him, attempting to shake the tears out of him. Yeah, it's weird.
Brutal, man.
Yeah. Cecil makes a run for it and escapes. That night in the dead garden, they reflect on the lack of success and wonder if Chortles simply made it up. That is until he hears Chortles doing his routine and making Cecil cry with laughter. And that's what it is.
Yep.
Cecil finds Chortles hilarious and he laughs so much he cries from laughing. I gotta praise it as a clever twist to it.
Yeah.
You know, and just a clever twist on the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, obviously, the show is very colourful. It's very.
The animation's good.
I think the voice actors are really good. You know, I really like the Twin Snake one too, because obviously two different voices.
Yeah.
Really clever. You know, the Grizzly Bear. I can't remember what it's called.
Frizzly Bear.
Frizzly Bear. Yeah. He reminds me of.
Patrick from SpongeBob?
The Stone Monkey from bloody Donkey Kong.
Oh, Funky.
Yeah, Funky, because he sounds stoned.
Ah, okay, all right.
He probably sounds like, yeah, man.
Yeah, but Funky had the look as well.
Yeah, the look
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like this as an opening segment and introduction to this show. I was like, yeah, this will be alright. I think this will be alright. Now, don't get me wrong, we're saying it now. This is like segment 1 of 52 episodes.
Yep.
So that is going to be what? God, how many segments would that be? It'd be 104 segments.
Ask us again at the end.
Yeah, ask us again in a year's time, and we might have a very different view on it. And that's when we bring us to segment 2, Candiosity. All the pinatas have gathered and are told that lots of orders are coming in from Pinata Central by Langston Lickertoad. Everyone is to be measured for their Candiosity, and if it is high, they'll be sent to the party. This seems to make everyone happy. It was like, hey, sweet, can't wait. And they discuss where they might end up, all except Fergie and Paulie, who prefer not to go. In fact, Paulie's just like, I don't want to go. Yeah. Fergie's freaking out. He shouts at the rest about the experience of being beaten by kids as Langston comes along and reminds him that he's always failing the Candiosity test. There is a funny kind of grainy, horror-like flashback of Fergie getting battered by kids. Yeah. You know, and you're like, yeah, actually, if you're on a live pinata, that's horrible. Yeah, it is. Fergie runs off and declares that he'll avoid candy so he can fail the test. So he doesn't eat any candy and so on. If you played the games, you know pinatas are super into the candy that flies around. If you leave it in your garden, they're all over it.
Yep.
However, he's immediately taken in by berries, apples and bananas, eating them all. He even fills up on honey. Sometime later, he's woken up by the announcement the test is in 3 hours and sees that he's filled with Candiosity. So panicking, he tries to run off, runs into the others, and they tease him about his size. So it hasn't worked out for him at all. Nope. Franklin then suggests, listen, go and see the Great Bonbon to help him. Ask him to help you. He's a seer of sorts. Paulie isn't so sure. Paulie is a consistent critic of the Bon Boon for good reason as well. Yeah, he's a rip-off merchant. He's a fucking scam artist. But Fergie goes off to see him. We actually see quickly that the Bon Boon is a scam, but Fergie falls for his patter and orders him to follow his instructions. He's kind of like Banjo-Kazooie's Mumbo Jumbo kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, good point, yeah.
But here he's a complete scam. He puts the voice on, he's talking on a phone when we see him, that kind of thing. And his instructions are, to become smaller, he must become larger. And Fergie is giving cleaning chores while the Bon Boon relaxes. So basically, he gets him to clean his place, implying that this was what he needs to do to help him. And Fergie, so desperate, agrees to do it. But during it, Fergie ends up revealing a secret candy stash that the Bon Boon has and thinks eating all of it, become bigger, to become smaller, is what the Bon Boon meant. Fair enough. Yeah. We then cut to all the pinatas lined up to have their Candiosity measured. Some pass, some fail. I think it's really cruel what it does to them when they fail. It launches them out into the ground, face first.
They get beaten either way.
Yeah, some harsh shit going on here. Mainly Paulie, who sees Fergie coming along, but he's so big he's being carried by a forklift, so there's no way he's going to not pass. And he cries because he thinks he's doomed. He's put on a scale as the other pinatas celebrate. They're happy for him. They think, yeah, this is great. Fergie's Candiosity is measured, and he's about to be sent to a party. He then sees a bit of chocolate left over and eats it, figuring, well, why the hell not? I'm in this situation anyway. But this little bit of chocolate is just too much, causing him to explode. His back of his tail just blows up, scattering candy everywhere and resulting in him failing the test. So he gets out of it that way. But Fergie now obviously believes the Bon Boon was right. I mean, think about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
he got bigger to became smaller. You can argue, all right.
It's the funny thing.
Yeah. And he runs off to thank him as the Bomboon is arriving the other way. But the Bomboon is furious because Fergie ate all his candy.
Yep.
So yeah, it's quite a little funny ending. Yeah, it's the second segment. I think the second segment's good as well.
Yeah, it is good, yeah.
It does create this level of adult viewing weirdness where you are like, oh, God, they're getting beaten to death.
Yeah, because it's like...
And also, like, he blows up the end. Doesn't that hurt him?
It's sort of like it's a kids show, but they sort of like slip in little adult moments too, you know, sort of. Well, sort of like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong had moments like that. I wouldn't exactly say slips into too much in the adult way. I think there's some stuff adult might find amusing in a different way to maybe a kid, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because obviously we can interpret it more,
Yeah, and it's more just like, oh, this is a bit weird. Like I said, the grainy footage of him being beaten, that felt like, to me, I was like, well, that's like a horror movie. That's funny, do you know what I mean? Like, that's clever and so on. But it's fun. Yeah. It was a fun segment, and again, and kind of like delves into that whole Candiosity thing quite early on to give you an idea of what it's going to be.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like, hey, this is not a bad start. We're not off to a bad start here with the first 2 segments. It's 1 episode down. There's a lot more to go. Yep. Crocodile Tears and Candiosity. You got any thoughts on episode 1? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?